Welcome to Dare a New Belief, a place to discover what is possible for your life after the loss of a loved one, and where you will find inspiration, insight, support, and love, and hopefully a bit of laughter to help you through your day. Now, here's your host, Nada Hogan.
Welcome to Dare a New Belief, where you will find light and love, life, love and joy, healing, faith, and hope. A place where you get to believe what is possible for your life. And today I have the great honor to be back with Pernille Halbro for part 2 of our conversation in Journey Through Cancer. And I just want to remind you who Pernille is. She is the owner and founder of Pernille Halbro LLC. She is a certified transformational life coach, specializing in dream building and life mastery. She is also a certified EFT practitioner, otherwise known as tapping, and she is a Reiki Master. Her journey as a healer started at a very young age, being an intuitive empath. In her early 40s, she realized her purpose always has been helping and supporting others, and she became a certified life coach with Mary Morrissey and LifeSolutions. She uses tapping and Reiki to teach the body how to restore its natural balance of energy. She is passionate about empowering women going through challenging transitions, feeling confident, motivated, and alive through a vision-inspired life that they love living. Welcome back, Pernille, and thank you so much for being with me again.
Thank you so much for having me back. I'm so excited to be here.
Ha ha ha. I'm glad, because you're not as excited as I am, because I love your story. I love you, and I love your powerful story. So I want to remind the listeners where we left off. And if you missed part 2, or part 1, please go back and listen to that, because it's a wonderful introduction to Pernille's introduction to this journey where she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And now I want to dive into how it was you went from the United States with that diagnosis, and then you ended up in Denmark, because all of the procedures, the treatments for the cancer, all took place in Denmark. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, I went first. I was diagnosed early July 3rd, 2018. And I already had scheduled to spend 6 weeks in Denmark on vacation with my children. So I didn't have time to get treated before I left. So the universe way was, I guess, to be sent over there. And I really wanted to try self-heal, because I believe in it. So in Denmark, I was eating even healthier than I did over here. I was seeing a dear friend of mine, Kjell, who was doing healing on me also. And then I started doing therapy, which was MetaHealth, or through MetaHealth. And it's kind of metacognitive therapy, I believe it's called also, where you go to the root cause of what causes cancer and where it's sitting in your body. And I did that intensely while I was there, biking and just really working on getting calmer, getting more centered, trying to work on my sleep and be more mindful. And I felt really great. I felt changes in my body and also in the size of the tumor, especially through the healing. So I went back in August and was going to have a checkup to see where we were at. I wanted, for my own sake and for what I do as a healer also, to kind of document if it was working. And I had another ultrasound to follow up. And unfortunately, it grew 2 millimeters on one side, which is not big in the sense of what type of cancer I had. But it was not reflecting how I felt. I felt great. So then everything started changing. Oh, and here's the gold nugget for Denmark. The trip there also was just before I was leaving for the U.S., as I was being healed, I went into this visualization of healing as we were trying to heal my body, and I started seeing all these images. And one images I ended up with was that kind of above my belly, I guess. I started seeing this green field of grasses and just nature. And then I had this Danish flag, like on a big flag post, standing there. And first I thought it was kind of odd. And I'm like, well, yes, I am Danish of background. And then it dawned upon me, I think my healing journey is in Denmark. But I had to go back to the U.S. because my vacation was over. And there were many questions flying around. But I ended up going down to the government center in Denmark, and I enrolled in the Danish system in case I needed to come back for treatments. Okay. And that's what I did. And then I went back to the U.S., and then I had my my ultrasound and found out that it wasn't going the way I thought it was going to go. I thought it had shrunk. So then I started panicking. That I will admit. Then the warrior woman, she wasn't as strong as she was before, or determined. And then it was like, okay, now I don't feel like I can trust my body. I don't feel her as strong as I used to. I stopped sleeping. I stopped eating. And then I started feeling really bad. And I couldn't think straight. And I got tested in several ways. I had to do my taxes, and I also had to do the 100-question test for the American citizenship. So, but I knew at that point I had to go back. And the bills were coming in, and I could see that I could not afford to be treated here either, because they were already enormous, and that was only mammogram, biopsies, and ultrasound.
Right. Wow.
So I chose to go to Denmark. That was the next step.
Okay. So how long after you received a diagnosis of breast cancer was it before you went back? I know you were in Denmark. You came back to the United States, then you went back to Denmark. But how much time had passed in between? Where are we time-wise on this journey?
I was diagnosed on July 3rd, 2018, and I left the U.S. on September 12th, 2018.
Oh.
So about
just
3 months.
A few months, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're in Denmark.
Yes. So I came over there and enrolled in the system, went to see a doctor, and they have what's called a cancer care package. So within 2 weeks, you're enrolled in the system and will go for an appointment in the hospital. And that was a blessing, knowing I could come home to be with my family, be with my friends. I needed them to surround me. I needed to be with my family. And being nurtured by my mom's cooking and having a place to stay by my parents. My brother has gone with me to every appointment. And my cousin has been coaching me through my mindset of how to deal with everything. But I had, because we had to redo all the testing, there was the biopsy in the U.S. was not clear. And so we had to redo all the testing. And it turned out I had a pure triple negative. And then I started treatment with chemo. I had to go through everything because it went in my lymph nodes also. So I started chemo in October.
In October,
and
okay. And Pernille,
yeah,
I want to ask you, because I know somewhere along the line, I believe it was the doctor that was in the United States that had made it clear. So I know very little about breast cancer. I don't know what triple negative means. And I also I didn't know that the cancer could show up in two different places. It could be in milk ducts or in the granular tissue. And there's something important about where that cancer, and I'm deliberately not calling it yours because I never give ownership of that. It was just that thing that came in that taught us something and has moved on. So that cancer was in a certain tissue for you that meant something. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so through the lens of meta health, the principles are that our thinking can manifest things in our body. And in my case, it was in the milk ducts and spreading into the granular tissue. But it originated in the milk ducts, which was part of what was called separation in the way they're charting the body. And it was very true because I had gone through a separation, and we just finalized that spring our divorce. And it was not easy. It was, I'm on very good terms with my ex, and our divorce, we did a good job, both of us. So we divorced amicably and everything. But it doesn't mean that it's easy in our emotional body. And I had a lot of grief around it. So it was natural when I heard that it was separation, without him even know where it was in my body. I had to go back to the woman and ask her, where did it originate? Can you see that on my mammogram? And when he said, well, if it's in the milk ducts, it's separation. And just when he said it, I was like, oh my God, this is spot on. And I was so wowed that he just sat there, and that was the owner of Meta Health in Denmark. I was lucky to get on the phone that day. And when he explained it, it just all made sense to me. So that was a trauma I wanted to release. Yeah. And that trauma I worked on while I was in Denmark with tapping and TFT also.
Okay. Wow. I mean, because I totally am in agreement with that the body reflects what is happening in the mind. The body is just an expression of what is happening in the mind. And that is so fascinating because I didn't know those distinctions with the breast and breast cancer, and for you just to go through that divorce, that separation in that divorce, and just how enormously powerful that was to your body emotionally, how powerful the negative impact of that to your body. And I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. It says that you and your husband are ex-husband, amicable, right? You guys are okay now, still good friends, and
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yes. No, I'm very proud about where we have landed. We have bi-weekly dinners together with our children and our dog. And and he's married and expecting, and I'm so happy for them. And we're both in a very good place. So absolutely.
I love it. Because, not holding on to resentment or anger or any of that stuff, I think it's beautiful. So, okay, because these calls go by way too fast, let's dive back in. So you're back in Denmark. Now, the natural route that you were so confident was going to work, and your body was telling you, I feel really good, everything is right on, and you get a result from the doctor that says that is not the case, which I'm sure had to have just, right? I mean, it's just, it just kind of pulls the rug out from underneath you, and it's a blow. It's just like a blow to the solar plexus where it